Hello, it's Tessa, one of the news editors here at Manx Radio, back with you this time with a developing story that centres on the 3 C's: care, Cummal Mooar and communication. And it's the latter which appears to some to be missing. Let's rewind for a moment back to the 27th of July to be precise. It was on this day that Manx Care confirmed that Cummal Mooar residential home in Ramsey would be closed within the next 2 years. At the time, it said plans to construct a replacement on land identified at the Cummal Mooar site on Waterloo Road, which have been in place since 2018, would no longer be going ahead. Manx Care said it would work with residents and their families to ensure that those in Cummal Mooar would be moved to appropriate alternative accommodation. The health body also said analysis of the future direction of residential care showed facilities like this would not be so widely required in the future. It also said it was planning for there to be a facility in the north of the island in the coming years, but it couldn't currently confirm what that would look like, as it needed to listen to the views of local people. So, in short, Manx Care said quite a lot. Or did it? Because aside from the media release put out on the 27th of July and the letter it sent to residents and their families advising them of what I've just told you, Manx Care has said very little else. Repeated requests by Manx Radio for a spokesperson to talk about what's happening at Cummal Mooar go unanswered. We've also been made aware that a meeting which Manx Care organised for the residents and their families, which was due to take place almost a month after they were told, has now been scrapped. A letter sent out last week said that meeting, planned for the 23rd of August, where people were supposed to be able to raise their concerns, was no longer going ahead. This, Manx Care said, was because it needed further clarity before the health body meets with those worried about the future of their home or their family's home. So when has that meeting been rearranged for? Well, in short, who knows? Due to staff being on annual leave, no alternative date has yet been proposed. We'll come on to the impact of that communication shortly. It is important to note here that the Department of Health and Social Care doesn't seem to agree with what Manx Care has publicly announced. The Health Minister and Ramsey MHK Laurie Hooper has disputed that Cummal Mooar will close before a replacement facility is built. But he does concede that, in his words, something has fallen over in terms of communication between his department and the arm's length body. Away from conflicting messages between government departments and divisions of said departments, there are real people with real concerns about what happens next. Vicki Hewison is the lead campaigner for a group which hopes to save Cummal Mooar. Her mother is in the home, and she spoke to me after receiving the letter from Manx Care cancelling the meeting they were due to have.
We were already upset because the first meeting was going to be almost a month after the bombshell was dropped on us. And now we're not given any dates whatsoever. And it's totally unacceptable. These are people's lives that you're dealing with, and it's affecting them, both the residents, the staff, the relatives. You cannot treat people like this. You can't leave them hanging. And we understand it's because civil servants are on holiday. So the people who need to be spoken just aren't available. Not good enough, I'm afraid.
And let's just pick that apart if we can. Obviously, we had the announcement, the bombshell dropped. We have a meeting that's scheduled for a month in advance. That an issue already. And as you say, that meeting's now been cancelled, but you've been given no date. And I note that in the message that's been sent, they said that they feel with the current uncertainty around the planned decommissioning of Cummal Mooar, further clarity is needed before we meet with you. Do you think that this actually creates even more uncertainty because you haven't been given another date for when you can actually meet with these people to get some answers?
Absolutely. I mean, for us, obviously we're gathering a lot of information, and, the powers that be really should be aware that, we're not just sitting down. The longer they give us, the more information we gather and the more support we're getting. I mean, what we have in Ramsey at the moment, I think there is almost every shop in Ramsey has a petition in. The feeling is that strong. It's going out to Andreas and Sulby and Balaf and Derby because people feel so strongly about it. If it doesn't affect them personally, they will know people who either work there or have had relatives in there. We all know how vital this facility is. And it seems to be that we're caught, that Cummal Mooar is caught with a battle between DHSC and Manx Care. And left hand doesn't seem to know what the right hand is doing. But in the meantime, us as relatives, we don't know. How can we reassure our loved ones that they're going to have a roof over their heads? I've had this exact conversation with my mother because she's just moved there. She thinks she's going to be out on the street. We need to address this again, not keep it hanging on the way that it is.
And you mentioned there that conflict, it would appear, between what Manx Care is saying and what the DHSC is saying. Now, the DHSC minister told us earlier this week that something seemed to have fallen over in terms of communication between his department and Manx Care and what was put out to the residents and the relatives. We've obviously had communication now from Manx Care, but it doesn't seem to be aligned. It doesn't feel aligned that the DHSC and Manx Care are on the same page. Is that your feeling? Is that your view?
It is, but then you have to also say that Laurie Hooper is a politician, and there's a lot of politicians speak, and he has been extremely careful what he is saying. There's a lot of should and intention. Should does not mean will. Intention, I can intend to go to the moon, doesn't mean I'm going to get there. So he's been extremely careful in what he said. There's an awful lot of smoke and mirrors, I think.
In this letter that has been sent out, Manx Care has apologised for the uncertainty or anxiety that postponing the meeting might create. And it says, in the meantime, current arrangements will continue and there'll be no change to the running of Cummal Mooar during this period of further discussion. Does that set your mind at ease?
No, it doesn't really, because I do wonder whether the facility is running to full capacity. Are all the rooms occupied? Because there is an argument that if they're not all occupied, possibly there is some form of instruction put in not to have it a run at full capacity, then it's setting it up for a fail, isn't it? You know, they're not going to be achieving the income. So I would just like clarity that there is going to be full occupancy, because let's face it, respite care is a huge problem on the island. And, you know, there are many families who just need that little bit of breathing space. So if it's not available at Cummal Mooar, where is it going to come from? Because, you know, there just aren't unbound facilities on the island. We just need to know where they're going to be.
So definitely an opportunity for Manx Care to provide some more clarity about the sort of day-to-day questions that are cropping up. Just tell me from your perspective, obviously a northern resident, your mum has lived in Ramsey, I believe, for her life. What's the impact of a resident who's so familiar with the community, with the town, being able to stay in a facility that they have so much knowledge of and I guess so much sort of affiliation to, if that makes sense?
It's huge because the staff in there are more like family. And I know quite a few of the residents don't have a lot of relatives, either because they're off island or because they just haven't had sons and daughters to look after them, and their friends and family, because of their age, are no longer with them. And the staff there really do treat the residents with that care and dignity.
Obviously, this is such an emotive topic at the minute, and I'm sure that there are many people who have supported you and many people who would still like to support you. If people do want to sort of get involved, we know you've got a petition. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So the best way, we do have a Facebook page, which is Cummal Mooar Support. So just get in touch with us via that. We would love to have petitions roll out around the island. I mean, the support in the north of the island is phenomenal. And we have got the online petition, which I think we're around about 1,500 signatures now, because people on the island really do have to believe that this is just not a Ramsey problem. If this facility is allowed to close, and we really hope that we're getting there and the message is getting across that it shouldn't close unless a new facility is built, but it will have such a knock-on effect on all other care facilities on the island. And I really, really can't stress that enough. So when your loved one, whether it be your mum or your grandma or whatever, goes to look for that respite care, And let's face it, it is needed. We all get older and we all need help, but we want to make sure that it is there and nobody is left. The elderly should be treated with respect. And this is the key thing on this. I don't feel in all this correspondence with Manx Care or DHSC that they are being treated with the respect that they really do deserve.
What do you need to see now?
We need to see either a statement saying that the letter is being retracted, period, and giving us and them and the staff, and most importantly the staff, they are in a terrible situation and they shouldn't be put there. We just need it pulling. That's it, and it's a really simple fix. There obviously is an issue. Nobody seems to know what's going on, so stop it. Just stop it right now. It's going to stop all the upset, all the campaigning. And being brutal, the 2 MHKs for Ramsey, they are there because they are elected. They have the privilege of being elected by their constituents to represent them. There's not an awful lot of representation being seen right here, right now, from what I can see. And that's my personal opinion, not the group's opinion, it's my opinion. But I can't see that. They don't appear to really be clearly standing up and fighting for a vital facility within their constituency.
And you are holding a public meeting, aren't you, next week? Tell me a little bit more about that. Have you invited the Ramsey MHKs to come to that?
No, we haven't. And the reason for that is it's an action group, because we really do mean business and we really are going to get action starting. And there are various plans and various campaigns already on the go. And so, no. If they can't be bothered contacting us, and we make no secret of how we can be contacted. If anybody picks up the paper petition around Ramsey, it's got my details on, and I will relay it to all of the group. And we all have a very active Facebook page, and we all chat. There's a lot of communication going very quickly, so it's very easy to get messages to us.
Laurie Hooper has stated publicly that he thinks that Cummal Mooar will remain open until a new facility is created in whatever form that takes. Do you believe him?
I'd like to, but hand on heart, until I see it in writing, no.
We asked DHSC Minister Laurie Hooper if he wanted to respond to any of the points which Vicki raised in that interview. The press officer for his department declined the opportunity on his behalf, saying they have no additions to make to the existing statements which are in existence.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Little Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.